I want to tell you that nearly 100 years ago lived a woman, a mother, a very strong-willed mother. Her name was Grace, and I never tired of telling her story. Grace had a son. His name was George. And when the United States entered into what history remembers as the Great War, George joined the war efforts by volunteering to serve in the United States Aviation Unit over in Great Britain. George's letters home were very often, and so when they stopped arriving in the summer of 1918, Grace believed that her beloved George would return back to the United States among the war wounded. And you know, this very strong-willed woman, this mother, she was so determined to find her son in our nation's capital region where the war wounded from World War I were being treated at Walter Reed. Day after day, that woman went to go find George. Well, eventually, the staff at Walter Reed kind of got tired of her hanging around, and they wondered what they were going to do with this mother. And so it didn't take them long to put her to work, helping out where she could. Dreadfully, it was a few months later that that letter came confirming that George had been shot down, and regrettably, his remains were not recovered. Realizing that self-contained grief is self-destructive, she continued to make that daily trek to Walter Reed, carrying on the service that her fallen son no longer was able to provide. It didn't take her long to find other mothers here in the Washington, D.C. area who were in that same similar situation, lost their sons to war. And so what'd she do? She convinced those mothers to work alongside her here at Walter Reed, caring for the wounded comrades of their fallen sons. She believed that reaching out to others in need was so much bigger than herself, and it helped comfort her during her grief journey. These women became known as Gold Star Mothers, a name taken from the Gold Service Star banner that hung in the window of a family who lost a loved one in service to our nation. A few years later, Grace Starling Seibold and those 25 Washington, D.C. Gold Star moms established American Gold Star Mothers. Our purpose and mission is that of service to veterans and service to their families. And what a selfless servant she was, and what a cause, and what a great source of strength she championed. For nearly 90 years, we are a strong organization of mothers who have lost sons and daughters in service to our country, carrying on the service that our fallen sons and daughters can't.